The Rambam's writings are often cited or used as a source for healthy living. I believe even in the compilation here, there was a ad in the Yiddish foreword that had the Rambam endorsing bran as a
Yes.
healthy product, which they've got a big kick out of that in the family. What medical treatises did the Rambam compose? How serious were they? How well relevant were they in his time? And do they have any relevance whatsoever today?
So we can take the last one first. Scholarship-wise, things like this, anything medicine-related, science-related, to me, they're always relevant. It doesn't mean that you are going to start practicing medicine based on what the Rambam said, or start to imagine, that the sun revolves around the earth because that's what he said, scientifically speaking. So yes, they're still relevant from a historical point of view. So the Rambam, he practiced as a physician. He seems to have studied and known medicine, although he didn't comment on it himself as to how he learned about medicine and science. He seems to have learned it, or possibly learned it, from his own father or within the family back in Spain, and then when they had gone to Fez. He certainly was practicing medicine in earnest towards the latter few decades of his life. He had been in business with his brother David, who died in a sea voyage in 1177, and the Rambam actually refers to his own depression over this. And at which point we know that he was then one of the physicians at the court in Cairo. Cairo was established as the seat of the caliphate. Now, the way the treatises were written, it seems, is that they were sort of commissioned. You could have a question about something. This is coming from a wealthy, from an elite, in essence. Have a question about some sort of ailment or some sort of desire. So let's say there's a particular ailment, or it could be related to diet, and you commission something to be written, and Maimonides then, or some other physician in general, but like in the cases that we have, Maimonides would have authored a relatively small treatise on this particular issue, and it would have then been copied for its own, for the edification of those other people who find it relevant. Best known is that this work that was put together called Pirkei Moshe, which is basically aphorisms of Moses. This is medical knowledge. In the book that we produced for this exhibition, because the book that you referred to is sort of a companion to the exhibition, there's an article by Tzvi Langerman, who was a professor at Bar Ilan University and a great scholar of Maimonides and of Yemenite Jews and of science. His article concerns quote unquote anecdotal evidence, the use of anecdotal evidence, and it's fascinating in terms of what it meant, the use of evidence in terms of how you're going to then prescribe. And the Rambam refers to how he would go about these things, and also, I guess, getting to your question about how serious was this was extremely serious. This was as serious to those interested in medicine as anything else that he produced, related to philosophy or to halakha. And he himself was highly regarded. Like I mentioned, he lived within a Islamic context, and we have examples. Actually, I was going to pull this up to read this. There is a poem from a 13th century physician who didn't know Maimonides but knew his son. Maimonides had one son named Abraham ben Arambam. And in this poem, this is how he, if you don't mind, I'll just read this. So again, this is it's a near contemporary of the Rambam, but it really represents how Maimonides was viewed. External, meaning outside of a Jewish community. I see that Galen's medicine is for the body only, but Maimonides' medicine is for mind and body. If he were to treat time with his medical knowledge, he would cure it of ignorance with knowledge. And if the full moon were to seek his medical advice, the fullness it claims would be fulfilled. And he would treat on the day of its fullness its spots, and cure it on the day of its invisibility of its sickness. in essence, the Rambam was so highly regarded, he received this praise from another Muslim scholar.